What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. It is now December 28th, 2025. I'm Ross Sapp. This is your AEW World's End post show. The crisp start time of midnight Eastern. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Like, do you like these shows immediately after? Would you rather me wait till the next day? Let me know. It's 2026. We got a lot of things on the horizon, both at Fightful and FightfulSelect.com. I'll tell you about that later on. Leave a thumbs up if you're here. If you don't mind, share the link. We are on Twitter, X, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all that good stuff. You can follow me on Facebook at Ross Sapp, where I'm debunking a bunch of fake news. And you can subscribe to FightfulSelect.com, where I did my first prediction show in years on FightfulSelect.com. Lock in that year-long price right now. Myself and WrestleVotes had a whole bunch of scoops today, from where Christian Cage was, to what's up with Chris Jericho, to Kenny Omega maybe in the world title program, to David Finlay's contract and his future, to reactions to Okada, Takeshita, all that good stuff. Our betting tips, which proved very, very nice tonight. Lots of stuff over at FightfulSelect.com. That's the most direct way to support us, but I'll tell you more about that as we get to those specific things. Let's talk about AEW World's End. There was a lot to like on this show, and then there's a couple things that I really, really didn't like. And it is going to be me beating. It's not a dead horse, because the horse was dead and then it came back to life. So let's jump into it. First off, we had the 0 hour. Adam Cole zooms in to give us an overview of the Continental Classic. It's very good to see him just in the fold, period. It's very good to see him there being used, showing up in some capacity, any capacity, whatever capacity he can, on a comfortable level. Like, all of that is really, really nice to see. And that just honestly warmed my heart a little bit. So I'm very, very glad to see that. But we had the Sisters of Sin defeat Hyan and Maya World. And yeah, the boys at FightfulSelect.com, please subscribe, have been reporting on Maya World and Hyan for quite a while, including how it was I wouldn't say got on AEW's radar. They were already on AEW's radar, but last month there was a situation of which was heavily reported about, where a couple of ladies did not see the upside in them losing a 3-minute match on TV. And Hyan and Maya World, who are two of the most highly regarded women's independent wrestlers, stepped up and said, "We'll do it." And they had a very, very quick match, couple minutes. Then they got another match and another match. And then they are on the 0 hour pre-show tonight. And Maya World was out there doing indies last night. She was at Firestar last night doing indies. So she's still out there doing the damn thing. Now, the match in particular, 6 minutes, Sisters of Sin win. Not like a ton to write home about. Hyan and Maya World got their offense in. I want to say, I love the assisted gunslinger that Sisters of Sin do, where it's the old Billy Gunn sidewinder rock bottom power slam. Love that move. Great finish. Sky Blue getting a hometown win. All for that. No disrespect to Julia Hart and Sky Blue, because they got the wins and it was an important night for Sky Blue, and they looked really good. This was a special night for Hyan and Maya World, and it really shows you that if you make the most out of almost anything, you can turn it into something overwhelmingly positive. People on my staff, Jeremy Lambert, used to cover UFC post-show pressers at like 2 a.m. He is now the top news writer in wrestling, period. If you take an opportunity that you're given and put everything into it, Maya World and Hyan just showed you what you can do. We had posted on FightfulSelect.com that they were very highly regarded within the company, high regarded enough to where they are officially signed by AEW. They got the graphic and everything. RJ City did not, but it was confirmed, another Fightful Select scoop, that he is not fired. But good for them. Raul Cervantes says, when is Andrade expected to be back in AEW? So, a couple things that we were able to confirm this week on FightfulSelect.com. He is eligible to sign with AEW. He is out of his WWE deal. So here's how that process worked. He did not think that he was under contract still and didn't believe that they sent him the appropriate paperwork to indicate such a thing. However, they did, and they weren't necessarily happy about it. Roosh got him in touch with an attorney who works for, I believe it was Brad Small, who does Drew McIntyre's like wrestling contract and reps a couple of other people, a number of other people, and has been involved in wrestling contracts for decades and decades and decades, and has dealt with WWE a ton. And he did not even think that it was going to last 3 months. Like he didn't believe that this non-compete was going to hold up even then, but he was very, very blatant in saying it certainly ain't going to last a year, and it didn't. And from what I understand, WWE was pretty chill about that, all things considered, and Andrade is without a contract now by WWE. Now, there was a lot of discourse about whether or not Andrade had signed with AEW. People in AEW thought that he had signed a deal. And this is, I want to say this is speculation on my part. This isn't a report. What I think happened, because I don't know if you're AEW, you would put him on TV without a contract. I think he signed a contract. And then when the whole legal thing came about, they were like, let's just rip this up and make this easier for you. That way it's just a smoother transition. You know what I mean? He is eligible to be back in AEW whenever. He's already done Indies and New Japan. Eddie Kingston defeats Zach Gibson. Listen, this was not a match that I expected to see on this show, but all for Zach Gibson getting a PLE pre-show match, pay-per-view pre-show match, so to speak. Every time I cover an AEW pay-per-view, it's almost obligatory that I say, yes, I believe there are too many matches. Yes, I believe this match could have been on Dynamite or Collision. And yes, I do think that this match and the tag match that followed and the 8-man tag could have been on another show, but they weren't. So we get Ortiz making his return after this to, unfortunately, no reaction. Like there was not a ton of great crowd reactions. And if there were, the crowd was not mic'd appropriately. Is that something like, looking back on the history of Chicago shows, like, is that something that happens a lot? This is not something I particularly noticed a lot. But I will say that, I mean, the show didn't feel like 5 hours to me. But I'm glad to see that Eddie Kingston and Ortiz are back together, because if you're not going to do, I'll get to that rant later, but Eddie Kingston's probably going to contend for some sort of title in between, I would imagine, right? But I think AEW needs to do better at crowd miking. Bandito and Mascara Dorada defeat the Don Callis family combo of Mark Davis and Rocky Romero. Dorada hits a crossbody that gets caught by Don Callis family. Then Bandito does a Tupac Yangiro to all three men. My big question, are Bandito and Mascara Dorada a full-time team at this point? Because one, Brodito did really, really well in our Fightful award voting. There was no Brody King on this show. So what's going on there? He was on Holiday Bash, and they had their thing, but they've not teamed up in over a month now since they lost the tag team titles. Bandito is still ROH World Champion. And they really seem to lean into, Oh, well, what if they become a full-time tag team? I was like, really? All right. All right, then. I know one thing. Brody King has that aura. And I did until Christmas because I gave my aura frame to my wonderful mother. I've told you guys about aura frames and their incredible carver mats. And you can still get that deal at auraframes.com. And using the code FIGHTFUL, save $35 off their best-selling carver mat frames at Aura. Now, here's how this works. It's pretty fantastic. Aura Frames allows you to get the Aura app and then upload photos and videos all throughout the year. No matter what time of the year it is, you're covered with Aura Frames. You can upload stuff from vacation. We even had people, and I've used this as a big selling point. You're able to upload it even if it's like, a little bit of a troll, like maybe a fantasy football score. Somebody told me that they were getting one for the last place team in their fantasy football league, and they had to prominently display the Aura frame all year long. Let me make sure I've got my right frame up here. Oh, it's the wrong one. But we've got people all over the world that have told us about their Aura frames and what they plan on doing with it, which I love that. I love hearing the things that you guys cook up and the things that you all do with these, whether they be, positive, trolling, whatever that might be. Go to Aura Frames, check them out. You can even add a customizable message before they get their Aura frames. Well, Jet Speed and Jurassic Express defeated The Demand and Josh Alexander because, you got 5 men's singles titles now. And the guy who just won the singles title, Ricochet, is not here defending it. Okay. All right, then. Fine match. Jurassic Express get attacked beforehand. And this is Don Callis tells The Demand that they need to clip some nuts. Lots of nuts on tonight's show. Pretty wild, like all the nut talk. But The Demand take out Jurassic Express on the ramp before the match. Jack Perry returns for a hot tag, Luchasaurus as well. Fans are chanting for Luchasaurus. He makes his return bandaged up. Jet Speed and Jurassic Express win. I'm glad to see Jet Speed getting a win of some capacity. I'm glad to see Jurassic Express getting a win in some capacity because like both of those came back and it's like, well, where do they go from here? After the C2, are we back into Jet Speed as a team? Are Jurassic Express next up for the tag titles? Because Young Bucks are out for a little while, right? So I think them getting a win is solid stuff there. DNC Digital says, with the news, excited to do more commentary. January 4th for Combat Cult Wrestling. Main event is Brick Savage defending the Absolute Championship against Hyan. Oh my gosh. Well, we love Hyan here. Just a wonderful person. Has appeared on In the Weeds as well. But very happy to hear that, DNC Digital. So I'll circle back to the Continental Classic because that's going to be a full segment back to back of its own. That's what we'll do. Let's talk about the AEW Tag Team title. FTR defeat the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, Chicago Street Fight. Stokely took a nasty table bump spot where the table didn't budge. He slid over the top into the announce table. I heard Stokely's okay. Obviously not the way that the spot was supposed to go. And listen, like, I don't talk to Stokely like I used to when I was able to do interviews with him and all that back in the day. But like, he has added so much to this duo. And I'm sure he's going to beat himself up over that spot. And there's really no need to. he has given FTR such an incredible, like, I don't want to say new lease on life because they were fine, but I'm like, man, like he took a sicker bump than he would have in general. Like, obviously you want to go through the table, but like, man, those floor bumps are just disgusting. He had nothing to break that fall. A tough ass dude. A lot of people forget just how much Stokely has wrestled. He's done quite a bit of it. And again, not ideal, but like, I did not think that subtracted from the match at all. And I thought he was very good. Juice got his leg worked over big time. Great to see Juice working a bit as a babyface, right? I'm really enjoying that. Like, Juice sells so well. And not often have we really got to see him work that style over the last few years, because he did the Bullet Club thing, the Bullet Club Gold thing, and here and there he would do it, but like, we get to see his range an awful lot now, and he sold his ass off. Commentary put over Austin Gunn really well also. No Ace Austin here. Colton Gunn's still hurt. Jay White's still hurt. Jay White's always trolling, by the way. I see you, chat. He's always trolling. But a couple pile drivers ended up getting it done. I thought this was a very good match. It was a different type of pace than what had existed right before it, which we're actually going to talk about later. But I liked seeing FTR in this style of match as well, because it was a little bit different than what they had been doing. And I think that's fine. Like, I think it could have been a little bit shorter, actually. But other than that, and that's not me saying like, oh my God, these guys bored me or anything. I just think that for the show, it could have been a few minutes shorter, so to speak. I thought Babes of Wrath, Athena, and Mercedes was just the right amount of time. And oh boy, did we get some post-match stuff there as well. But like, there was even like a botched spot, or a pseudo botched spot that ended up looking good, where Athena just hosses up Willow and spins her around and does like a bit of a jawbreaker or whatever. This is our 2-time Fightful Award winner for Women's Wrestler of the Year, Women's In-Ring Wrestler of the Year. She just did great. I mean, there was a couple of specific spots that I really loved also. Athena getting catapulted and hitting the stunner, the O-face. And then she took the pounce phenomenally well. Just so well. I'll tell you a spot that I love and a spot I hated about this match. I love the double crucifix. Boy, has Harley Cameron improved. And if you saw our interview that we had this week, you can see how proud she is of that growth and of the things that she's done and how she surprises people. And let's be real here, guys. When did Harley Cameron start? Like 2022, maybe 2021? I'm going to look. Going to look at when she had her first match. And started later in life. 2022, she had her first match. 5 months later, she had her second match. She has basically been wrestling as a pro for a little over 3 years. She has lapped a ton of people that came into AEW before that. She has lapped a bunch of people that have been in the Performance Center since around then. She has lapped an awful lot of people in TV wrestling who started before that with less than 100 matches, because she finds her strengths and she plays to those strengths. She does very well. Love that double crucifix spot. I want, in 2026, what I would love is for the Tower of Doom to be banned in all women's matches. Banned. Get rid of it. I can't go a damn pay-per-view with a women's match that has at least 4 people in it without seeing that Tower of Doom spot. I do not want to see it for a long time. I'm over it. It's not cool anymore. Stop leaning on that spot. It's getting to the point of the Del Rio stomp. If you guys watch my very early reviews, like on Wrestling Inc., one of the spots I hated was when Del Rio would do his stomp off the top rope. People would hold on to the top rope for him because he would just wait forever. Hated it. Hated it. The way that other people have adapted and done it years later, much better. Get the Tower of Doom the hell out of here. Now, Athena, boy, is she playing the mental game on on Mercedes, and I love it because Willow took the heat, right? Willow took the heat backstage for it. Mercedes is backstage flipping out, so the meltdown is happening. Mercedes takes the pin, and Lexi is backstage ready to interview her, and she's smashing mirrors and all that stuff. And she lost to Alex Windsor recently. She lost the world title match. Now she's lost this as well. And I don't drop this word on shows anymore, but Mercedes did, so it's a direct quote. She said, "Willow, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you this Wednesday." Now, I'm not a big, cursing really makes a promo, but it made the promo. It made it really good. And Mercedes melting down, like Mercedes completely crashing out and not really blaming Athena for the miscommunication. But and keep in mind, Athena is an S-tier troll. She's mad at the person that pinned her. Oh, this was good stuff. And being able to say that on pay-per-view goes an awful long way. And yes, Jack, Athena will be blaming her. I like it. This is one of those things where I love the direction of this. Also, this was one of our lock picks for the evening. Listen, we've had a 99, I think it's 98% success rate with lock picks over at FightfulSelect.com. And our betting site of choice is MyBookie AG. I am on a heater right now, guys, with the Cincinnati Bengals. As you guys know, I run Common Bengals W. Some of you guys know, some of you don't. I bet against my team for like 5 straight weeks, and then I was successful. And then I had a good feeling against the Ravens. Bet on my team. I also bet for a Chase Brown over on yardage one week. I didn't like their direction after that. Bet against them. And then I hit on them winning last week. I'm like 7 or 8 in a row over at MyBookie AG. And you can head over there now too. You can score a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. And it's bowl season. So they got you covered there. NBA season's going on right now, unofficially started now that Christmas is happening, and you got the biggest football games of the year en route. But it's not just that. They got table games, live casinos, slot games. You can bet with Bitcoin as well, and they've got great bet bonuses. We only want you to bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. They have the best support in the business, but please check out our friends at MyBookie AG. The link is in the description below. Look at that. Look at that. Joe says, I hit 2 parlays while I was at the Seahawks-Ram game on MyBookie. I'd have to go back and look at some of my biggest wins. One of the Blue Jays games is a big win for me, but, God, I had a big under. I bet it. Actually, I think it was the game that Mahomes got hurt in. I bet against the Chiefs that night as well. Did really well because I bet a lot on it. MyBookie AG. Get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. By the way, my show notes, something that I've really enjoyed on FightfulSelect.com, in addition to our exclusive Discord, I have had our Discord members basically like community note and contribute to some of the notes for this show. And I love it. Like, you all can see my notes as the show goes on, but also you guys can contribute some as well. In Simmons says, I know Bandito's facing MJF, but why is he not next in line for the national championship after pinning Ricochet in a singles match? Well, in Simmons, the answer is I don't know, because there's so many goddamn championships. And my head spins. I think that AEW has had a very strong 2025. But there is this cloud that has just came into picture for me and tonight and really over the last month. And you guys know the rant's happening. Minimal, look at Minimal. He goes, here we go. You know it's coming, buddy. You know it's coming. 5 men's singles titles in AEW. Then 3 on ROH, and one of the ROH guys is prominently featured on AEW TV. We doing the Mixed Nuts Championship next? I don't know, man. We're gonna work. We're gonna Tarantino this all over the map for the C2. Because first off, phenomenal matches. Incredible matches. Jon Moxley, Kyle Fletcher, one of the best C2 matches ever. Jon Moxley winning the C2, I've got no real problem with that either. I like Jon Moxley winning this. That's fine. And what I am not is the kind of reviewer that feels like, oh, well, if I didn't predict it months out, then I can't like it. No, by all means, swerve my expectations. Curve those expectations. Give me something different. But I don't even know where to begin with all these championships. And people have said, since you started to rant about too many championships, they've added more. So here's the results. Okada defeats Takeshita. Okada, who is facing Hiroshi Tanahashi in what is likely to be the show closer at Wrestle Kingdom, defeats the IWGP champion and winner of the G1, Takeshita. Jon Moxley defeats Kyle Fletcher. Then Jon Moxley defeats Okada, and now the unified title, of which was brought together, and at the time was said to have been a 1B championship, the unified title no longer exists. And the Continental Championship is now separated. And right before Wrestle Kingdom, in the 2 biggest matches on Wrestle Kingdom, 2 of the people that are in those matches, 8 losses. Now, I understand it's a tournament. That happens. Could that play into a story? Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. But what I'm looking at now is 5 men's singles championships. And here's what I believe in my heart of hearts. I believe that AEW probably wishes that the national title was actually the international title, because the way that they have plans for that title is more like an international title. But so far in AEW's history, they have done the Triple Crown for the Continental Championship and all that stuff. And yes, the international title does look better. It's one of the prettiest belts in the world. So I'm glad it's back. But they did it's the Triple Crown and it's so big and it's important. And then, oh, wait, it just got split up again. All right. And then they unified the 6 mans and split those up too. And then they did this unified title, which, by the way, looked way less good than the international title. And now it's ununified. Now, maybe there's something that happens over the next couple of months that will make me feel a different way. But I think you guys know by now how I feel about championships, and I ain't going to stop bitching about it. Because to me, if you have this many titles and then you give people title shots off of losses, it undermines the point of having those championships. Now, there's always open challenges. That's fine. But that happens far too often. It's an epidemic across pro wrestling. It's a problem in Mexico. It's a problem in WWE, in AEW, in New Japan. I just don't understand. And I sound like a fucking boomer. This participation trophy society of where if somebody doesn't have a championship for a period of time, they're buried. Hangman and Swerve is one of the greatest storylines of all time, and it did not have the belt attached to it. What happened to the game I love? You could have done this for a shot at the unified championship. And what that does is it prevents Okada from having to take an L. It prevents you from splitting up these damn titles. It allows you to build towards another big match in the future. Very little of this makes sense to me. Very little of the direction of all of this makes sense to me, despite this incredible tournament that we saw, of which I enjoyed thoroughly. Phenomenal in-ring tournament. There are too many goddamn championship belts in pro wrestling. And the ones that exist, I wish they'd clean up the lineages. What the hell did New Japan do with all their belts? And what's the point of retiring them and unifying them if you're just going to bring another one? You got to get rid of the IC and then, we're going to bring in a global and all that stuff. And we're going to combine the titles. We're going to split them back up. Huh? I want that unified title to consume everything. Y'all want to know my idea for the unified title? Here's my idea for the unified title. I love how WWE has always had the WWE Championship, right? The WWE Championship, of which Cody holds, is the only title belt in that entire company that has had solid run and never gone away, right? Never gone away. All the other ones, even the IC title, has went away. The AEW title will hopefully always be like that also. The unified title, I think, should just eat up other championships. Whenever they feel it's time to get rid of the TNT title, unify it. National title, unify it. Continental, unify it. If they ever get rid of ROH, unify that with the world title too. It collects so many championships that you look at it and you're like, damn, man, that continues the lineage of all those titles. And I love that Toni said that the lineages continue as a result. Any title that's going away, unify it. That's what I wish. But somebody says, I thought this was a review show. Well, good news for you. I'm reviewing something that happened on the fucking show. Thank you. WWE Tag Title lineage is a total mess. Total mess. I don't know. And it's so funny because somebody mentioned, at least they got rid of the FTW title. I didn't mind that one because it gave them a reason to do hardcore matches. But I also understand. Ah, man. Anywho, Okada defeated Takeshita. I feel like this match being in a situation that was announced further ahead would have really helped, because am I the only one that felt like this match could be a big marquee match on a big PLE or a big Dynamite or something like that? Because they don't have a pay-per-view January, February. So main event, something like that. And it was announced on a couple days, which is the nature of the tournament, sure. But also there's something special about these two just like finally locking up. I did like, there was a lot of the match in general that I liked. Okada hit this big like running power slam. I don't see him do a lot. The pace of the match benefited Okada, and then it picked up big time with the flip off spot. Now I'm interested in what our wonderful chat thinks of the finish. I do think that the finish does undermine the point of the Continental Classic, which is meant to be fought with some honor and things like that. I like what it set up later, although in the moment, the referee made this spot look very, very awkward. And because of the execution, I was like, eh. Okada goes into the turnbuckle, grabs the screwdriver, and ends up cracking Takeshita with it. And you can get a rematch out of this, but I think there is always magic in that first thing, right? And Dave Koss says, the ref staring at Okada, grabbing and using the screwdriver is so infuriating. But they kind of got me back when Fletcher couldn't find it. Oh, we're getting there. I'll ask Luis if apply the super chats to whatever the last thing that they talk about is. But Don Callis came and celebrated. He said, good job. Good job. But the execution of this finish was not good. Wasn't good. But they gained some points a little bit later, because Jon Moxley defeated Kyle Fletcher in what was one of the best C2 matches I've ever seen, personally. Moxley was favored by fans and the crowd, or the commentary mentioned that. They're like, think about how he's been treated all year long and how he's treated fans all year long. And then think about how they're reacting to him. Now, let's talk about the match. A real crisp cutter and Michinoku driver. Like Kyle Fletcher he's getting up there with Cedric with that Michinoku driver for me. But there was an apron brainbuster. There was a really good submission trade spot as well. But there was it was almost like a Kata Hajime superplex. Wow. They were very lucky that Kyle Fletcher got up and continued after that. And they went back to the commentary. Like, this guy is, I don't know what the hell he's made out of, but I just hope he's okay after this. So what I really liked was that Renee set this up by saying that Kyle Fletcher had not watched Takeshita Okada because he was locked in on taking out Jon Moxley. And in not watching that match, he didn't realize that the screwdriver that he planted earlier in the day and told his buddy Okada about got picked up by Okada and thrown under the ring. What a brilliant ending to this match. What a brilliant spot to do. And again, I don't like the execution of the Okada Takeshita one, but this is the type of stuff you watch wrestling for and you go, all right, that is rewarding me for continuing to watch the show. This was a great babyface performance by Jon Moxley. This night was a babyface turn for Jon Moxley. The submission trade there, Kyle Fletcher wouldn't give up. And I like that about Kyle Fletcher. Like, at this point, why would we believe that Kyle Fletcher would give up after all the stuff he puts himself through? Because, like, is he a heel? Is he a chicken shit? Sometimes, yes. But man ain't giving up. This is up there among my favorite Continental Classic matches I have ever seen. I thought that both men did a phenomenal job. I thought that Jon Moxley pulled off something very tough in 2025. He went from a heel that at times had go away heat with some people, with some fans, and became a beloved babyface again. It's impressive. It's very impressive. Fitzgerald says Fletcher landing on his neck from that top rope spot was brutal. It was one of the grossest landings I've seen in a match in quite a while. I am Crush NC says sending this during the Mixed Nuts tag. The show has been incredible. Mox Fletcher was a late match of the year contender, and this show rules. Also watch Deadlock Pro Wrestling's 4th anniversary. Long live Deadlock Pro Wrestling. Shout out to the fellas at Deadlock Pro Wrestling and what they were able to do over the last number of years. Irison says, just left the show. Heartbreaking to see Kyle lose both the TNT and the Continental Classic. Have to trust that Toni will give him the world title in 2026. Only in AEW can someone go from massive go-away heat to one of the biggest baby faces in months. Incredible to see. There were some spots where like Moxley kicked out at 1. Woo! Crowd was there for it, man. Crowd was there for it. And we get Moxley and Okada. It's a good match. Chicago fans were unusual, but I mean, still, like, what I ended up taking from this was so much about the world championships, or the championships, rather, the unified championship just ending. And Jon Moxley cutting this super babyface promo afterwards. And the match was just like, okay. This one wasn't like an unbelievable match or anything like that. It was going to be hard to top the Fletcher one. But Moxley is like this. It feels like this tournament is what restored his faith in AEW. Like Moxley was afraid that AEW had gone soft, and it's like, now he doesn't have that concern. After going through this tournament, it's like, no. This is exactly the what I wanted AEW to be, and this is this was something that reinforced his belief of coming there. You know what I mean? And that's what he said as much afterwards. He said, we're AEW. We are the elite of the elite. And I know everybody was sitting there waiting for a turn. There's no Gabe Kidd there, which we'll talk more about later. There's no Pac there, which if he ain't booked to wrestle, he ain't going to be there. But this was a super babyface promo and a really, really good babyface promo. The promos that we saw tonight were very strong. But Jon Moxley wins the Continental Classic. I am of the belief this should have been for a shot at the unified title. That's what this should be for. The unified title should be so important that that's what this is for. But they looked like sharks ready to attack. And it didn't happen. Now, again, everybody's waiting for it. Everybody expected it. So it's okay for them to not do it there, right? That's something I got my eye on. And if you want to keep your eye on somewhere you should be doing it, I guess, I don't know. Blue Chew. I'm trying to look out for you. I'm trying to make sure that you satisfy. I'm trying to make sure that you do the right thing. And Blue Chew is as well. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Get your first shipment of Blue Chew free. Just pay $5 shipping. Got to pay the mailman. We'll talk about that later. But if you want that main event performance in the bedroom, Blue Chew is what you need. It's all done online, so no awkward in-person doctor's visits or visits to the pharmacy. Once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Arrive safely, discreetly. The mailman's not going to know what's going on. Well, listen. The mailman's not going to initially know what's going on, but he's going to hear all these sounds coming from your bedroom as he's dropping off the mail, and Your mailman's going to be like, what'd you order? And you're going to be like, he's like, I know what it is. I know it's Blue Chew. And you'll be like, what? Was it on the package? And you'll be like, no, but your package told the story and the whole town's hearing about it. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. Use that promo code FIGHTFUL. Get your first shipment free. Just pay $5 shipping. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the show. We also have Blue Chew Gold now. Please check that out. You can save 10% with the code FIGHTFUL. Oh, man. Got some super chats and humper chats. Bring pay-per-views back in the city. The crowd was dead, says Rick Young. So, I have been to AEW pay-per-views both in the city and just outside of it. Is there that big of a difference? Somebody smart me up. DNC Digital, is the lineage messed up now or is it defunct? The unified title just ceases to exist anymore. There is no more lineage. The other lineages just continue as is. And yeah. Who on the roster do you think is the most deserving of being the inaugural champion for the next belt introduced? You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. So they would probably introduce an international waters championship. Who's a good aquatic wrestler? I'm just going to say Commander. I'm a big Commander guy. Fitzgerald says, actually, Mr. Venom says, I didn't even know Ortiz was with the company anymore. Did he re-sign or was he just shelved for God knows how long? He was hurt and then he was shelved. He's been with the company the whole time. The whole time. Kind of wild, huh? That's a big thing I'm also not fans of a fan of in AEW is how much people get benched. The High Seas Championship, the All Pacific Championship, because they have the All Atlantic. There we go. Love for Boost says, I'll always bet on Athena having alien strength. Man, she is such an incredible performer. Fitzgerald says the Mercedes crash out has been cinema. Dropping the F-bomb added a lot to the crash out of Mercedes. Yes, she could not keep her cool. She couldn't keep her cool. I am Crush NC says, I love the show. Love the C2 final. Moxley going to get his head stomped in, and MJF as world champion going to be great. DPW forever. Dave Koss sent a few. He says, Mox Fletcher, easily match of the night. Expert storytelling by the two. The leg, the tooth, the story. I mean, Moxley lost a tooth. Made me emphatically more excited for Mox losing the Okada match and the ramifications of that, except he didn't. Mox getting plastic bagged in the same building Brian did was such a layup. I'm done now. Happy holidays, Fightful. Sean's the GOAT. Well, thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. I'm torn between the, okay, maybe it's good they didn't do the predictable thing versus, no, actually, the predictable thing would have been good. We don't need a national title. We do need a unified title. This should have been for a title shot. Takeshita didn't need to lose before Wrestle Kingdom. Okada didn't need to lose before Wrestle Kingdom. They could have turned, John Moxley could have lost, although I understand solidifying the babyface turn. But if he loses that title, then they turn on him. I can make sense of it. And I'll elaborate in a bit because there was another decision I think I would have liked to be different. In Simmons says, love the C2, but move the semis, the Dynamite. The finals looked a little tired. This had a lot of could have been on TV matches on this show. Mox is him. Hope he gets destroyed on Wednesday. I think that the semifinals would be a big TV attraction. So make it a big TV attraction. Now I understand it was Christmas this week, but who said you had to book it for that, right? I just feel like there were like a lot of things that should have just been adjusted here. And one of the reasons I think that AEW should do maybe 8 to 9 matches on pay-per-views is so those 5 or 6 that don't need to be on this show can be on TV and make those TVs better. So let's talk about Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin. Because Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin got busted open. And y'all know I'm a big Gabe Kidd guy. I've interviewed him a bunch of times. I think he's money. I interviewed Gabe Kidd for the first time. Let me look and see when it was. Let me check. It was a number of years ago. And I was familiar with him before that because of like What Culture Pro Wrestling or something like that. But I interviewed him in like 2021, 2022. It's like 4 or 5 years ago. And right after that interview, I was a big believer in him. It was Conor McGregor in all the right ways. He sold fights is what he did. Now, let me tell you, he came into this match looking great, looking lean, looking like he's trying to get a contract. Because it's about that time, right? Fightful Select reported today that David Finlay is going to be exploring his options in the States. I think Gabe Kidd should have won this match. I think the story should have been Darby Allin came back too soon and Gabe Kidd beat him because I think that Gabe Kidd is special. Gabe Kidd is main event caliber, and Gabe Kidd is the guy who should be the catalyst for Death Riders feeling like, no. This is our guy. This is the person and the attitude that we want. That being said, fine match. There was a catapult under the stairs. Both of them got bloody. There was that bottom turnbuckle spot for Gabe as well. Darby slumped over from the deathlock as well. There's a big Gabe pile driver that I thought was going to be a wrap, and then Darby gets that quick pin, and Gabe flipped out. So that's what made me surprised to not see Gabe later on, because he seems Death Riders contingent. Or is he not? Is he just not a part of that group, or does he just not mess with that type of attitude that Jon Moxley has? Now, Gabe Kidd should sign a dual deal with New Japan and AEW, because if he signs with AEW, he is everything that he said that he was not against Kenny Omega, because he took exception to the fact that Kenny Omega hit the bricks and didn't have to fight through the pandemic and all that stuff. A lot of the same things that Will Ospreay did. And Will Ospreay had a lot of those same comments towards Omega. And then Ospreay left too. So Gabe is like, what the hell? Am I the only one that's actually about this? So him doing it as well, I think there could be a something to that for far beyond that in a New Japan run. I would have went with Gabe Kidd here because I would have had Gabe Kidd firmly in position to be a next top guy, because he is that. And if you haven't seen the Omega match, you got to go watch the Omega match. Anthony Martin says, was that the show? Crowd is pretty same to being in the city. Hate that they call it Chicago. It's suburban. Crowd dies because the show is so long. Yeah. Here's what frustrates me. There are always people that are like, well, it's only the podcaster saying the show is too long. Man, I have been at a ton of these shows where people are like, these shows are too long. They ain't got to be that long. Mixed Nuts Mayhem. This was a match that I was like, damn, does this need to be on the pay-per-view? I'm glad it was. This match was fun as hell. This was a nice palate cleanser with some comedy in it on a pretty violent show. I'm actually very glad. I was shocked that this wasn't sponsored by like Planters or I don't know, anybody. I mean, I think they had like maybe a beer that sponsored, like an IPA that sponsored it. Why mix nuts? But this was very entertaining. This was a lot of fun. It had tornado tag rules. Like, let me tell you a spot that absolutely popped me. It was the all three people holding on to each other assisted boot. I think it was it Claudio, Yuta, and Garcia? Big fan of the assisted big boot. Like, that is such an old school style move. Big fan of that. There was a double shoulder tackle by Mark Briscoe and Toni Storm. I like that the women were getting mixed up in this as well. Toni does a German to Yuta and Garcia. Toni did a pile driver to Garcia. Claudio did the swing on Toni. Toni did the hip attack to Yuta as well. But the spot to me, and I got to pull it up. I got to pull up the visual of it, because it was just so perfect, man. Like, and it was a spot that honestly, listen, it had been over a year in the making with how they had booked Marina Shafir and like all the stock that they were putting into that. And listen, they acknowledged that Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir were married, and then you get this face off, and look how badass Marina Shafir looks. Looks incredibly badass. And she cracks him, and then he does a big, like, what was it, a chop to the back as well? This is a good spot. He did not hold back at all. It was domestic abuse. Now, listen, there's going to be a lot of pearl clutchers pretending like, I can't believe AEW would support such a thing like this. You know who they are. You know who those people are. But there were a lot of really fun spots here. Conglomeration wins, and you've got the whole Conglomeration like in there celebrating as well. This one was a tough one to call. There were a lot of really unpredictable stuff on this show, but this was a fun show and a fun match specifically, and not one of them I would have gotten rid of. I would have before the show. I'd have been like, well, can't you do that on Collision or Dynamite? But I think it added variety to a show that didn't have a ton of variety on it. Well, let me tell you something that did. Kris Statlander and Jamie Hayter. Because there was some stiff wrestling on this show tonight. But oh boy, did these two just go out and say, let's hit each other really, really hard. Like, this felt like 18 minutes of just them cracking each other, bro. This might have been my second favorite match on the entire show. I did enjoy the mixed nuts match a little bit more, but like Moxley Fletcher, my match of the night. But this was real physical and really good. There was the Avalanche Fisherman's Buster, really good spot. But they were just beating the tar out of each other, guys. And then the back-to-back spots where they each landed on their head. I don't really know how to break down analysis of this beyond they beat the living shit out of each other, guys. And Kris Statlander won. And like, hell yeah, man. Give me that. They were slugging it out. Kieran says, I really like the Kris Jamie match, though I was thinking maybe pull the trigger on a heel turn for Jamie tonight. Get the rivalry, but was not a fan of the GB sucks during the match. Found that pretty disrespectful. What did I miss there? What chant? GB sucks. What chant did I miss there? But yeah, the Green Bay sucks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because Chicago sealed it up in the NFC North. Yeah, I agree. I'm like, You ain't got it. I don't need that during this match. It always seems to happen during the women's matches, right? The what chance and this stuff. It's like save it for in between the matches. I don't need to hear that during this incredible women's match. I don't need to see it. Somebody said it happened during the 4-way too. I don't really need to hear it then either. I don't know. I got to deal with a football team that actually sucks. Great women's title match. Really great women's title match. St. Andrew says Moxley turns all of Death Rider's face except Yuta. F Yuta. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get Yuta a babyface reaction, right? It's not going to be easy for that one to work out. Well, C. Delgado says MJF clearly got the SRS interview bump. Damn, I got muted. I don't even know how I got muted. How the hell I get muted? Damn. So, I'm Wheeler Muta. Okay. So, where did I cut off at, guys? I did. I gave you guys the biggest scoop. It was insane. So, MJF wins. Got that SRS interview bump. Our most downloaded interview of the year. But Dave Cost says, I'm sorry, but the main was asked. The nonsense outside took away from the importance of it all. Swerve Hanger was more interested in tag moves than winning. Did you guys like it? As far as ranking it, it was behind Moxley and Fletcher for me. It was behind Kris Statlander and Jamie Hayter for me. Behind Darby and Gabe Kidd. I enjoyed the mixed nuts match more. Okada Takeshita was right on the fringe. It was maybe 5th or 6th best match for me. Like, it's not the greatest match I've ever seen, but it was fine. But also with AEW, you have sort of set a standard that pay-per-view matches are supposed to be ones that are unbelievable. And this one wasn't unbelievable. There were some good spots. Swerve doing the dead eye, the reaction to Hangman and Swerve getting their interaction. They still have a lot of good magic. Swerve has some good Green Lantern gear. MJF doing the Panama Sunrise. And the ops get involved because why wouldn't they? It's a no DQ match. But they get kicked out after Swerve does a stomp outside. Now, when I saw that stomp to the outside, I was like, oh my gosh. I was afraid that he would land on that knee that he just had surgically repaired. Hangman disposes as well. And then he kicks out of a muscle buster. And I thought that was really cool because you don't see that a lot. There was also Joe capitalizing on all the run-ins with the Coquina clutch, and Swerve specifically avoids Hangman and stomps Joe. I wonder if that will be a thing where Swerve says, you know, I could have got both of you, and I didn't, and I should have. But Max ends up stealing it from Hangman, and that was very important to him to steal it from Hangman. That was something that he wanted to do, and he felt slighted specifically by Hangman. And as a result of stealing it from Hangman, he also steals it from Joe. Now, I like short title reigns. I'm good with them. I'm ready to talk about how things have changed as far as titles go in pro wrestling. Because here's what happened. In the 90s, you had WWF and WCW. And I mean, WCW didn't give a damn about their championships, but WWF had a lot of short reigns. And they overcorrected by having 20 years of long reigns. And that's okay too. Like John Cena holding the title for a year, and Trish holding hers for over a year, and Reigns for several years, and Cody for a long ass time. That's okay. But I'll tell you what else is also okay. Going from Moxley having a lengthy reign to Hangman having a reign, defending it a bunch of times, dropping it to Joe, and then Joe dropping it to MJF. That's okay. And here's the analogy I always use. We all know that Stone Cold Steve Austin won the world title at WrestleMania 14. Does it take anything away from that title victory that he lost the title belt to Kane like 2 months later? I don't think so. Do you remember any of The Rock's reigns? Do you remember Mankind's reigns? I don't. I remember some of the matches, but substance over length. Noise says, hi, Sean. Hope your holidays were nice. Great pay-per-view. I think enough time has passed to say I want Swerve's old theme back. That is not happening for a number of reasons. Swerve has moved on. It is not happening. And let me tell you, Swerve has been ready to move on from that theme for a very long time. So it just isn't happening. Are the Ops still chicken shit heels after tonight? Kind of. I don't know that they're chicken shit heels. I just think they're heels. Dave Koss says, damn, I just remembered now Okada has international, Moxley has continental, so the unified is no longer, and there's 100 titles in FML. There you go, buddy. There you go. You got a continental, a national, and an international. Eventually, do they form some kind of goddamn Megazord? It's Gerald says, I thought for sure Joe would hold the belt until at least Revolution, but I didn't hate MJF winning. So used to AEW doing long title reigns, these short title reigns catch me by surprise. And that's a thing I think is helping AEW right now. I think it's very beneficial that AEW is doing shorter reigns. If it's creatively satisfying, by all means, do that. Doesn't have to be super long. They can be, but keep it unpredictable. And I thought that tonight was one of the more unpredictable shows of the year. Brandon says, the big question, now being several months post-surgery, do we know if Will Ospreay could realistically be cleared by Allin to take the title from MJF? Brandon, that's definitely the hope. But I think they're going to kind of see where that all goes. I don't know the specific surgery. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Ospreay pop up at Wrestle Kingdom just to honor Tanahashi, not to wrestle or do anything like that. I would be surprised if he didn't do that, but like Ospreay was hurt in July, and he still did the lights out steel cage match. So here we are already September, October, November, December, 4 months into this. And he could have got that surgery a lot sooner. A lot sooner. Oh, man. We're going to get some scrum notes, get some super chats, humper chats in. Want to know what you guys want to talk about, but I'll tell you what I want to talk about. You guys getting Nord. NordVPN.com is truly a catch-all for wrestling fans. Listen, we got this great deal going, 2 years plus 4 months free. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Before I even tell you that it works on all your operating systems, you know, Windows, Mac, whatever you got. Android, your phone, your desktop, your laptop, your PC, all those devices work as well. You can put it on your router, your smart TV, but you get wrestling at a much more affordable price on those pay-per-views. You can watch all that WWE content with one Netflix account. But that's not it. You're also protecting yourself. They got great secure cloud storage. You can create your own private network. They've got a data breach scanner. They got the Threat Protection Pro that blocks that malware, blocks the trackers, blocks the ad, even when you're not connected to the VPN. Head over to nordvpn.com/Fightful. See all the great things that they have to offer you. AEW World's End. Guys, we got the Fightful Awards coming up next month, too. Date TBD. We're getting the awards. Like, all the titles are, all the awards are pretty well shored up now. Like, they're out of reach with the voting, but lots of good stuff there. Lots of interesting stuff. So please tune into the Fightful Awards. I just want to shout out Kate, who did a phenomenal job coordinating and selling ads on that. And myself and Rob Wilkins have been working on it. WrestleVotes is going to help us with them as well. Mr. Venom says, 100% agree with the shorter reigns and shock wins. Current WWE has absolutely made me hate long title reigns. I don't hate them if they're right. Like, I think the Roman title reign was good. I think it should have ended at 39. We got some scrum notes. Orange Cassidy asked if he and Toni can team going forward. OC says, God willing. Harley is asked about getting to show her skills in the ring, and she says nothing has lit a fire under her more than people telling her she doesn't need to wrestle well because she's entertaining. Willow is asked for comments on Mercedes, and Willow says that when she first wrestled her, she felt like an underdog. People were just happy to see her in that spot, and she won. Now she thinks Mercedes knows she's no walk in the park. Kris Statlander is asked about the scary top rope bump, and she's glad that it helped everyone. Would SRS hate if AEW added a Fightful title? Yeah, I would, because one, we don't work for them, but there is a Fightful title. We just haven't done skits in a long time because, listen, people stopped letting me have fun for a while, and we're going to do some more in 2026. I will cater to the people that are good instead of the people that are miserable. But I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining me. I have a Q&A show dropping on Fightful Select on Sunday. If you are unfamiliar with Fightful Select, let me sell you on it real quick. I know a lot of you are like, I would never pay for wrestling news. I get it. I understand. But you're supporting the creators of that news. Like, we are the original reporters. You're getting it straight from us. You can ask us questions on that. But we got a ton of shows as well. Also, I get a Q&A article every day on Select. But every Monday, there's WrestleVotes Live, our live Q&A. Every Monday night, there's Sour Graps, a WWE Raw review. They also do that on Friday nights and after pay-per-views, including this one. So they'll be live over there as well. By the way, Luis, please check that out. Make sure that that's up there. We also have WrestleVotes Radio every Thursday, which is their breaking news show. They usually have at least 3 stories that emerge from that. But I've got a Q&A show every single week. Mine's dropping this week as well. Or it's dropping Sunday as well. I've got a new prediction show exclusive to Fightful Select. And I'm doing a new show called SRS 10, where I'll watch along on screen matches I've rated 10 out of 10 with you guys, and I'm going to find out stories behind these. You also get exclusive Discord access and just so much more. Jeremy Lambert has a show going up there. You can lock in that year-long price now. Oh, man. Oh, there's Zach Schimmel. He says, congrats on 200K on YouTube. I don't know when that goal was made. It was a few months ago. Thank you so much. He says, a great pay-per-view to end the year. AEW is deserved to be promotion of the year. Let's see where wrestling and Fightful go into 2026. Here's to the Fightful team and community. My vote for promotion of the year actually went to CMLL. But I also understand that ease of access is something that can be a barrier for that. And I don't blame people that vote for AEW as well. I think they had a strong bounce back year. And I think that is very, very important. But I'll tell you what's important. You guys, you're important to me. And honestly, Zeno Hour just gave me a great idea. There's SRS 10. How about SRS 0? It says 10 out of 10 is definitely Suzuki versus Butterbean. I might add a series that is me reviewing 0 out of 10 matches as well. I think that could be a lot of fun. Terry versus the Cat. The Luis, you'll know what Triple Mania it was. Los Villanos and Psycho Circus. What year was that? It was one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. But some of the SRS 10 matches that you'll see, the Unbreakable 3-way at TNA, Sasha and Bianca at Mania, Osprey Oku at Rev Pro, Sting's final match, FTR versus Switchblade and Juice. Gosh, I'll do 10 out of 10 angles too. I want some to kind of be a surprise, like you're surprised that I made them 10 out of 10. But Art Barr and Eddie Guerrero versus Octagon and El Hijo del Santo from Worlds Collide will definitely be one. Probably Cody and Cena at SummerSlam. But if they're on YouTube in full, I'll be able to watch them in that capacity. But I'll have some 10 out of 10 angles as well. But yeah, like I think we'll do one that is just 10 out of 10 angles as well. But Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, the lights out match, I rated that 10 out of 10. That is my equivalent of a perfect match. But, oh man, it's been a long night. I want to say thank you to all of you. 10 out of 10 promos, that's also a good one too. I'd have to go back and check some of those. But yes, we will do that. Listen, whatever y'all want on Fightful Select, your boy's going to bring it to you. Until next time, my friends, follow me on Facebook. We're out.